And we're live on the twitch.tv/ No, we're not live. Sorry. And we're live on the twitch.tv/ the Xisuma with the Impulse is live on the twitch.tv/ the Xisuma. Oh my goodness me, what has Hermitcraft become? What does this even mean? Grey blah. Let's try that again. Grey bars, green bars, purple bars, red bars, no bars. I'm confused. We've entered a new era. There are new things inside the Minecraft game. What? Peeps, look at this. This is a mod that we're developing with Deadbeef where you can set a status to communicate to the other players. Now, we're still figuring all of this stuff out. This is a basic key system where you can see your status and then select it. Right, it's pretty easy. You're able to communicate two things at once. And we've already come up with a solution for sleeping, which is to remove it from a status and turn it into something that tells other players on the server that you are trying to sleep when someone jumps into a bed. So working with Deadbeef has been awesome. There's so many things. Wouldn't it be cool if we could do this? Wouldn't it be cool if we could do that? And we're finding solutions and coming up with cool stuff. Estelian Malian, thank you for 40 months. Winnie T4, thank you for 42 months. Appreciate it ever so much. Tremendous support there. From pillars of our community. That's right. That's right. You're pillars now. God, holding up structures. Jeez, how do you do it? Atom 7k, thank you for 13 months, and Crowy Sick, thank you for the prime. Atom says finally catching a HHH stream. You should know that I will be around for a portion of the HHH part of the stream, but this beginning part is just me hanging out on my own because HHH starts in about an hour and 8 minutes. So yeah, just going back to that, like this thing right here, it's going to be an evolving system, and it allows you to communicate like to other players. Like, you know, if I weren't streaming right now, if I felt like having a chat, I could fly over to Cubfan or Impulse and say what's up, because they got the open status. Doc's being a rebel. Doc's refusing to use the status mod. God, Doc. What a rebel. It's all that rock and roll music he listens to, isn't it? Now Impulse isn't streaming because he's left. We don't know what he's doing. Saka Ja 90, thank you for 7 months of support, appreciate it. Pat J, thank you for the prime, appreciate it as well. So yeah, new things on Hermitcraft, things are happening, right? And that wasn't how I was going to plan on starting my stream, but I kind of realised y'all are going to see that and wondering what's going on. Plus I needed to set myself to streaming mode. One thing we're going to do is make it so that if I were to load up like my camera account right now, it'd have the same status as me, which would obviously then be a little bit confusing because it's like, well, you know, it's a camera account, but like, why is it set to that? So to avoid any confusion, we're going to make it so that it forgets your status when you load a new Minecraft instance, so it doesn't cross over to camera accounts, so it'll be reset, or like EvilX, for example. I mean, what? Huh? EvilX is me? No, what did I just reveal? Oh. Dang it! Dang it all to hell! Well, the cat's out of the bag. So there's that. Oh, apparently Impulse's stream broke. Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm gonna guess he'll probably get it back up then because, you know, his internet's just gone down, as evidence of him disappearing here on Hermitcraft, right? Britty Bam 8, thank you for subscribing. Santa of Scartha, thank you for 19 months. Upgrade 86, thank you for the prime. Free X Hild, appreciate it. Greatest Things Are Invisible with 24 months. Thank you so much. And Evil Dr. Matt. He's an evil doctor, but he's still a doctor. Have faith in Dr. Evil Matt. I put those words the wrong way around, didn't I? Kristinux, Baker Fist Man, Master Crunchy Joe Doesn't Stream, and Zaleted. Y'all been gifting subs, be sure to say thanks in chat. Also, Britty Bam is gifting 5 subs as well. We always appreciate the support of the community. Exit Flagger, Chris07, Tomatoes Are Evil, Twitcher Jinx, and Martine Brugg, you've all been gifted subs. Be sure to say thanks in the chat. And Becca11 is here for 13 months saying thank you for all you do, EvilX. appreciated. I'm glad someone enjoys my work around here. Speaking of which, we are digging out a hole for Evil X. Evil X has instructed me that we need a hole, so here I am digging it. Okay. Liger, thank you for gifting a sub to Diazen. Appreciate you doing that, and Diazen, be sure to say thanks to Liger in chat. We always appreciate the gifting of the subs here. And yeah, so to just finish up my thoughts on this whole status mod, when you log in, you'll be prompted in chat to set your status, but only when you have a new Minecraft client. So if you log out and log back in again, it won't remind you. So the idea is that you get a little prompt each time you load up the game, kind of like reminds you to go in there and set it, and then, you know, because each time you load it up, you know, you might be streaming, you might not, like your thing changes, and it's like a reminder to get in there and use it. Mac976, thank you for the Prime. Carly Shell 333, thank you for 2 months of support. The Great Waligi 647, thank you for 3 months. I probably butchered your name there. We got Imish for 9 months. Nakunai Dragon here for 16. Cats Forever here with the Prime. And Black Steel's here with the cheers and the bits. Saying, it's hard for me to catch one of your streams. Yes, I imagine that can be so, right? I do try and stream at different times, but that's mostly just on the weekends. But glad to have you with us today, and thank you for those cheers and biddies. We got Bia Stank here with the Prime. Statue 32 here for 2 months. Appreciate it. Peeps, I'm thinking my next stream might just be depending on what I get done tomorrow, it might be Hermitcraft. I might stream Hermitcraft tomorrow, or I might chill out and play some of that Monster Train again. I'm really enjoying that game because I was expressing some frustration at how, like, every run is just 9 levels, and then it's like, now all you got to do is like some big completionist thing. But I realised the game itself is like really quite fun, and I'm enjoying just trying out different deck combinations. And now I just play a run from time to time, and I don't even try and like optimize the starting conditions and just see what you can do with the card combos. It's a really cool game, so I fancy streaming a little bit more of that. I know I said I wouldn't, but like, I've kind of found just a casual enjoyment of it that I thought I'd embrace and maybe just stream a little bit of at some point. That could be cool. Amy Angel, thank you for the cheers and bits. It's always appreciated. We got Patry's Bot here for 8 months. Peter the Hobbit here for 3 months. And Becca is gifting subs to Lil Spagbowl, Yassi316, Peachy Lady, The Cambuxius, and BCK Crunch. Have you heard your name being read out loud? Be sure to say thanks in chat as always. Thank you, Becca, and we appreciate the support for the community. Who are you helping today? Says it's a big error. I have no idea. I don't think anyone has any idea. I've seen no discussion about HHH. None at all. Hey X, have you ever played Scrap Mechanic? I feel like you could do some really cool stuff in that game. Crazy Dragon? Go to my YouTube channel, search for Scrap Mechanic. Oh! All the answers are there, and videos that you could enjoy. You should help yourself, says Yellow Soul. I've got nothing really that other hermits can help me with at the moment. I'm doing all sort of on my own stuff, if you want to call it that. I do need a staircase, though. I've just become painfully aware of this. And goodness me, we've got another sub-bomb coming in here. Whew. Do you know what? Whenever I start streaming, I start to feel the heat. I am sweating. I changed my shirt before I started because I was like, I don't want this shirt getting sweaty. I had a feeling. I had a hunch. Let's check it out. We got Debucherella here for 3 months. Thank you so much. And Baytander Neil is gifting the sub bomb once again. Ewok Headshot. Keyboard Spielerin. Karen9593. CBC KTT. Bad Mustache. Crazy Gamer, Agent J Poindexter. By the way, I'm literally looking at both screens, like I'm reading the words and moving through the Minecraft world. This is some crazy multitasking. Lays24MC, Dotoricius, and then we got Mr. Coding 1234, Inner Fox. Oh goodness me, there's more coming in. Banana Dodo, Inkwells P. Clementine Water, Ed's Phones, 800 Mackie, Mellow Axolotl, Absinthe, Lucy K, Ambia Labolia. Probably butchered some of those names, but thank you so much for tuning in. And Beta and Daniil, thank you for gifting those subs. If you hear your name being read out, always say thanks in chat. We got Jessa here with a Prime, Terra, Serantic, Snowy Banshee for 9 months, and a sub bomb from Kero Platoon. Appreciate it ever so much. Look at that train goes, says Andrus D. I still can't see that stuff. I know the hype train is a thing. It doesn't appear on my dashboard, if you want to call it that. That's actually what it's called on Twitch. It's called the dashboard. Spiderheart, Random Coaster Troy, Ineption, Starhopper, Shady J, Chroma, Jack of All Spades, Roxage, Divi C, and Elmathosis. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to say thanks to Kero Platoon in chat, and thank you again, those gifted subs. Ah, caves! I found. Oh god, it's dark and gloomy. We found caves, peeps. It's a tremendous day. Out of the Bats, thank you for gifting a sub to Kia27. Kerboface subscribed. Smoothed Block 85, thank you for the Prime. And we've caught up with those noises in the ear. A lot of tremendous support coming in today. I appreciate it as always, peeps. But did you find caves and cliffs? I mean, there are cliffs above me and caves here, apparently, so I believe I've successfully done that. I think I might just fill this thing in as well. Toes, thank you for subscribing with the Amazon Prime. Appreciate you doing that. I would love it if you did some more Slay. I haven't had the itch to play for a while. I didn't really like... The last few games I played, I was just like... I feel that kind of like... I'm done with this for a while again, and I really haven't had the itch to play. Probably because I've been playing Monster Train when I do play something else. Oh, and by the way, oh my goodness me, so Steam has this thing called Remote Play. I'm not sure how long it's been around for, but I've never taken advantage of it, and then something just prompted me. I think I accidentally sort of saw the option to do it with Monster Train, and so I go grab my iPad, and it turns out that I can stream playing Monster Train to my iPad, which is where I've been able to sneak in a few games here and there, you know. And it's pretty awesome. Like, the game plays exactly the same. So it's just like my... what is it called by Steam? Steam Link that links it to your television with a Steam controller. It's basically like that, but for an iPad. I mean, Steam is really a fantastic product when you think about it. I think one of its short sights? One of its weak spots, let's say, is perhaps the lack of curation in the marketplace, but like it's got so many great features that can do a lot to compete with consoles. The fact that I can now play these PC games on my iPad is just awesome. It's just pick up and play. You know, your PC has to be running, and essentially all you're doing is streaming it, but that's amazing. I used to use the Stream Link on my telly to stream like movies from my computer instead of from the telly. But now my telly's like newer and it's got, you know, all the Netflix and stuff built into it. But that was awesome. Hardly ever use it anymore because of that. Controller would be good. I should have brought a sweat rag, okay? It's been, all of a sudden we've had a few hot days. By the way, I got a hot cup of tea here, got to start drinking it. Had a few hot days over here. Shortfalls and shortcomings. Yes, those were the words I was looking for, chat, definitely. In fact, I'm just going to go grab a sweat rag. I'll be right back. So, just to, you know, bring you up to speed on the sweat rag, okay? It is indeed a disgusting, dirty rag. I can't remember where I found it, like on a road. I've been using it for years and never cleaned it. Okay, actually, when I wipe off the sweat, I think more muck comes on. I don't know why. Why wouldn't I clean it? No, I'm messing with you. It's a freshly washed, nice white towel. I've got like a 4 or 5 of them. They're like my gym towels, you know. Take it with you to the gym and then wash it when you come back. That thing. And we got more noises in the air. I can't actually remember the last one I read. D13242, thank you for the Prime. Wolfie0120 with the Prime. Lou Blue with the Prime. Ryan Duncan here for 4 months. And Pretty Bam is here with some gifted subs to Tom8oo, Yellow Soul, Merrick, Lufa Tiberius, and Laura Sim. Thank you for those gifted subs. Appreciate it as always. What kind of tea have I got? Interesting question. I've got a everyday, and I brought some Twinings. It's called Non-22. It's black tea with like caramel flavour in it. And yeah, it's an interesting one that I've tried a couple of times. I do actually quite like it. I should probably try it with a little bit of milk in as well. It's surprisingly nice. I think they had a mint one as well. I think I could really like that if the mint flavour was right. So I needed to dig out this hole, and apparently I just forgot that there was like dirt over here. You know, dirt needs to dig in too. Don't neglect the dirt. Anyway, it's been really hot here today and yesterday. Jessa says, do you need a fancy computer to play MC? I play on console, and I love how it looks on PC with texture packs. I think that's how it's called. Also, which is better, Java or Bedrock? So if you're playing on a console, you're basically playing Bedrock Edition. And my opinion is that Java is superior, okay? Now, I only ever really play Java, but here's the thing. I feel like games, you know, you could call them shooter games, right? But aim and click games, let's say, have always just been so much better with mouse and keyboard than they have on a game controller. And I feel like Minecraft is one of those games, to me, as someone who, I mean, I use mouse and keyboard all the time, right? So I'm biased, but the smoothness of the movement is just wonderful. And Java has like the modded scene, it has the resource pack and skins scene that's entirely free. It's a lot cheaper because of that. And all round I think it's pretty awesome. Like there's like a level of a customizable experience, let's say, that you can't get with Bedrock. Although actually, to be fair, Bedrock's got its own form of customization. I'm just not as keen on it. But then again, you know, I play Java all the time, so I'm kind of biased here, but I really think Java's worth it. The other thing is, if you get in a computer, you can end up getting both, which is what I have. I have both editions on here, right? We don't spend money for maps, says Cat48 is live. Yep. If you have realms, it's, you know, the maps on there are free as well, right? You have to pay for the realm, but I believe the maps on there are free. And that's, you know, Java still holds over the spirit of the original Minecraft game, where absolutely everything was free. It was like the original Minecraft game had this layer of community around it that created more content for the game. And then when Microsoft took it over, they started to like monetize that and move it into like marketplace and whatnot, which I'm not particularly fond of, but like, it's business. Sort of like, what do you expect? I think Microsoft has handled the game pretty well overall, despite bringing in, you know, shops, microtransaction type stuff. I think overall their handling of the game and the way they work with Mojang is good for both Java and Bedrock, so not so much complaints from me anymore these days. MPA Dutch is here for the nation, saying Streams plus Valve is one of the best things to happen to PC gaming, especially for the Linux community. They have created created Proton, a compatibility layer where you can run Windows on games on Linux and it performs very well. That's really cool. Yeah, it is great. I like that it does all of that, supports Linux and whatnot. I don't use Linux. I've used it from time to time for odd jobs, and it's cool. I think if I were more techie, or if I had learned how to use Linux earlier, I would probably be happy using it. But for me, I don't really have the time to like migrate, because when you move to something like Linux, you've got problems to fix. So yeah, anyway, couple of days of hot weather, right? Whew! Yesterday I was pretty much like busy all day, and I decided to just walk into town because I was aware there's this hot sandwich place, right? They're toasted sandwiches, and you can never get them delivered, which is sad. But because you can't get them delivered, I figured, well, why don't I like go just walk there and get one, and then walk back. Good bit of exercise. And it was absolutely smelteringly hot. Smeltering? I feel like I made up a new word. It was really toasty out. And it's been like that today, and today I had to do some garden work. So I've been like on my feet all day, had to walk back and forwards to help my relatives out as well. And so like I've just been on my feet all days doing stuff. Now, this thing over here, by the way, I was thinking this might look better if we ditched the andesite and went with like spruce everywhere. Or some other texture. And then I thought these might also look really cool holding up this thing over here. So what we're going to do for the beginning of this stream is build what's going to push this around over to there. And sort of make this more proper and less temporary. And then once we've done that, we're going to get the zombie villager in and start curing some villagers. So we've got one yes in chat. Yes for the spruce post, says GM Nightmare. Here's the other thing though. Once you introduce a bunch of them, you know, the contrast might be good. In fact, contrast is probably a key word. Maybe I should look at what fence post colours are available. And try and mix and match like that. But I think we're probably going to run into the same sort of problem. I think this might be a creative mode moment, or a creative world moment even. Jackulus Joel, thank you ever so much for your subscription, I appreciate it. Beta Neil says darker stone might look nice. We've used deep slate like up top on the builds. What I'm looking for first is really what walls. So there are deep slate walls. You could go really dark with black stone. So a bit of a darker grey, I guess, is cobble. That one would probably be darker again, but not as dark as some of the others. So I think candidates will probably be like these three. Maybe granite? Wish there was a little more variety there. So then you got to underpin that with the block, right? So we're talking, I probably want to use for regular deep slate actually. So like, oh yeah, which one of these actually matches the fences available, right? Like none of them are particularly grey. And I feel like whatever you put there is going to stand out. Although that is more subtle. Let's go back to the wall for a second. Because you do also have this, right? I'm not sure if that would really fit in the area too well. Plus, you end up with the same texture each time. Then up top you got your grindstones. And then you want your trapdoors. And I don't really see... We've used a lot of that trapdoor here and there. I kind of like the idea of maybe using some crimson wood around here. So yeah, you'd end up with that at the top. Throw these things over it, right? Then some signs on the side. See the signs as well. This might be the one right here. Let's try... Let's try the crimson fence, yeah? With the wall block, which is the nether one. And then maybe spruce again at the bottom? Or something spruce related. You can also do a bit of that, or maybe like a barrel. I'm not so sure. Honestly, it makes me feel like throwing in colour is maybe not the way to go here, but put these on the sign is the idea. Oh yeah, and then the trapdoors would change as well, right? Let's do the whole thing then. I think the deep slate will work. I think the deep slate is the way to go. Hey X, why are you not chatting with your fans? Says Ray and Sid's Squeesh Sorry, I can't reply to your message because I'm not chatting today. Sorry. I thought I was. Yeah, the sides of the grindstone are dark oak. Yes, they are. So maybe what I needed was dark oak signs. Now you don't have a dark oak wall, but maybe the nether brick wall works. Let's go goof about. X, why is your old skin Doom guy? Says Plasma Q. Because Doom is my other favourite game. Talking about the original Doom. I like the remake as well. Remake's awesome. Okay, so I got dark oak. What was you thinking? Nether brick, right? And then maybe some deep slate. Oh, I was supposed to press the button. God. My instincts have failed me. Not even... Yeah, I do. And another... Oh, plenty! Plenty! Plentiful amount. And Baby Orcra says, I love watching X build while eating dinner because you know he'll waffle about food. Well, I could waffle about the sandwich that I had yesterday. They didn't have the Philly cheesesteak, but it was alright. It was like a proper grilled sandwich, which is something I don't think I've had in many, many years. And the crust, it was a bit overcooked. Like the crust was like beyond crunchy. It was like it might break your teeth crunchy. So it was good. I'd probably have one again, but I don't think I'm going to go out my way. However, I really like the idea of just like wandering down there and seeing what else is, you know, maybe once a week just head down there. What is your favourite cheese? That's a great question. Cheshire cheese in a salad. It's all crumbly and I also really like halloumi as well. I thought you didn't want to eat so much bread, says Baitan Daniel. I know, right? Like, I can't remember if I talked about this on stream or not, but like, I literally, like, from like Friday last week, I think it was, it's been like curry with a naan bread, another curry with a naan bread, decided to get myself a sandwich when I went shopping for food, for groceries, forgot that I had ordered some other food with bread and naan breads, and so I ended up just like pretty much eating bread every day, and then I was just like, well, sod it, I'll go down there and have one more. But not this week. No, none this week. Why don't you get netherite gear, says Ponful? Because I suspect that people like yourself really want to see me grind in the nether for netherite gear. Or shall we do some building and moving around the villages? What sounds more exciting, chat? What sounds more exciting to you? Why don't I only make 2? I do this all the time. We need that dark oak fence. Remember, I'm just being a pain. It's never personal, I just like being a pain in the bum. See, chat saying building. Y'all like seeing the building. It's more interesting, I agree. It's a bit of a mix, isn't it? It's a bit of a mix. I think the deep slate probably won't work with that. I think you need a dark oak text. Excuse me, burping. God. Probably need a bit of dark oak at the bottom. Grindstone up the top, right? Oh yeah. Probably gonna have to put some trapdoors on that. Now, the height is good, but I think what we want to do... Actually, here's the thing. I was going to have it come out of that height. Do you know what? I might ditch this. Because it's going to look a bit odd underneath anyway. Let's just build some custom rails for this thing at the height where we want it to be, as opposed to try and take our lamppost design there and pretend that these are in some way connected, because I think they're going to look a bit silly. So what I think is going to look best is... Let's see. Why'd I pick the slabs? That's not what I need. The Slay Rough Harshmellow Man is here for 12 months. What a crazy username. One whole continuous year of subbing. Just how many curries have I helped you eat? A lot. I have less of them these days. I feel like I went through a bit of a phase there over the summer, just munching down curries constantly. I feel like I've exhausted that now. Kinda need an axe as well, right? Chess monster, chess. What's that sound? Chess monster, chess monster. Anyway, I wanted to have a chat with all of y'all about something that we were talking about the other day, because I was having a waffle and I never really landed my point. I realised I kind of like lost track of what I was trying to get across halfway through, like waffling about all these ideas. Who was here when we were talking about like wealth distribution and this thought experiment of like, what if one person had all the wealth in the world? Who was here for that? That was the last stream that I did. I think that was, I can't actually remember when that was. Friday? Was it Friday? So peeps were here for that. Cool. But for those of you that weren't, I was posing a thought experiment for this argument that we have. That, like, if you work hard in life, you can make it, right? There's an argument of, like, anyone can make it. You just gotta roll up your sleeves and work hard. And the reason there's all these people that don't make it is because they're not working hard enough. So I kind of had this thought experiment of, okay, so what if one person has all of the wealth in the world? Every single little bit of it. What we can then agree is that no one's going to be able to, like, work their way up from that equation, right? Work smarter, not harder, says Was Yago. Hard or smart, it's about social mobility. The ability to kind of, you know, participate in society and then develop and progress from that point. Meritocracy in the role of luck, says Flying Piggy. Kind of. The thought experiment is like, imagine that one person has all of the wealth in the world. And then, it's probably easy from there to kind of equate that it's going to be incredibly difficult to, you know, to have that social mobility. Because all the wealth's in one place. So then on the flip side of that, if wealth was always distributed completely equally, again, social mobility then wouldn't be something that you would seek out. In all of this waffling about this idea that I had, I kind of didn't land the point. Oh god, it's escaping me again. I remembered it earlier and I was like, I'm going to bring that up again, and now I've forgotten it. Dang it, I give up. My brain ticks over all day long, and then I come to the stream and I completely forget what it was I was going to say. Brilliant. Just brilliant. Also, I need to, like, sleep in a bed and then check where, like, this goes into the build on another world. You'll think about it in 3 hours, says Joe Dragon. I know, right? I literally know that. It's just going to come back to me later on. Hey, we got Marilyn Miner here for 65 months. Thank you so much, Marilyn. Appreciate it. Incredible. MPA Dutch Divination saying, just want to correct you on one thing. A switch from Windows to Linux requires a change in workflow and a learning curve that comes with that, and not so much problems to fix. In my opinion, there are problems with all operating systems. But the time you need to invest in the switch in most cases is only visible when you get too frustrated with the one thing you're using. I appreciate the thoughts and thank you for the donation, my dude. It's just a matter of language when I say things to fix. What I mean is, like, in order to do things that I currently do on this system and everything works, it's different. Like, to do it on Linux means, oh, I have to figure this out, because things don't work the same way on that operating system. If I had already, like, learned Linux and done all of that, I'd be happy to use it as my work system. But I'm not happy to make that transition because I have to do my work. I can't I can't, like, you know, miss videos and miss streams because, oh, I'm figuring out Linux, right? That doesn't work. I can't do that. I have to, because there could potentially, there's just an unknown amount of downtime that comes with that. So, like, even being a bit hobbyist about Linux and looking into it a while back, it's the same thing. It's like, I would have to spend so much time to get to a point where I could do this, and then I don't know what else it's going to throw at me. So because I don't have all the experience with Linux, I'm not going to make that transition. It's just too much of a, like, obvious problem. And if you know Linux, obviously you're going to be thinking, oh no, it's not that hard, but it's like, I don't know Linux. And some of the problems I was able to solve that should have really been simple, like, I can't remember specifically what it was, but it was something to do with a repository, which I was trying to get files from. And basically, as I remember it, the problem was that I was trying to get something out of a sub-repository. And I didn't even know it was a sub-repository to another repository. And when I was trying to problem shoot, it's like when you don't know the right questions to ask, you can't find the right answers. Like, all the answers are out there, but not if you don't know what questions to ask. And I'm going to run into that over and over again with Linux, because in looking on, like, help sites and whatnot on how to do this thing I was trying to do, no one thought, oh, the reason why it doesn't work is because it's a sub repository. The Linux user, my friend that I was talking to about it, also didn't think of that. We're going back and forth, like, why isn't this working? Here's the error log, rah, 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 rah. And it just turns out it's a sub-repository and you have to talk to it differently. And so, yeah. There'll be so many of those. There'll be just so many unknown things that I'm not going to be able to figure out. And that's why I'm not going to make the switch. Mercury Explorers here for 18 months saying, what a great way to start my recovery. Livestream, keep up the good work, dude, and thanks for making my day. Awesome, thank you so much for the 18 months. Right, I'm going to log on to another server so I can look at my build and just remember a couple of specifics. What reason do you have to move to Linux, says Hagman? Not a lot, really. Not a lot, other than it's a bit more geeky, a bit more like power user, which I like. You know, I customize Windows a lot, and I just like how it works in general. I think it's a really cool, different way of doing things, very customizable. But is it necessary? Not at all. So, like, just the equation of, like, risk and reward is just too much. Right. So where is my build? TP. Sorry peeps, I'm just on a different server to check this thing out because I haven't finished building it on here yet. Right, now let's go. Now I've got that on. Now I've got that on the other screen. Let's go back to this one. So there's going to be, how many blocks is that? 1, 2, 3. There's a ledge of spruce blocks. Okay, and where do those start? Because I actually have these. We can put them in place. So we've got the 1, 2, or 3, and 5 deep slate here, and the ledge. Oh no, the ledge starts there. Oh dang, that's tight. Oops. Okay, let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, deep slate, other thing. Yeah, I thought I might have done that. It's going to come in like a little bit too close for my liking. Like, it would have looked nicer further across, because it's going to be this here with all of the spruce trapdoors, right? So we'll put those in place as well. Okay, and then there's going to be a big old pillar of spruce here as well. And actually, no, it's going to be stripped dark oak. Grab our dark oak. Like that. That's going to go up, 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 up. I could probably count the blocks. It's like 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that gives us an idea of height as well. Cool. This actually goes like all the way out to the corner as well. I think I might just put that little bit in as well. Ah! Did you see on Reddit how similar Grian and Gem look? I did not. I didn't know what to expect when I started reading that. I don't know that they look that similar. What, are we talking IRL or like skins? Woo, 10-minute wait is over. Anyway, I wanted to ask a question about your wealth thing. What would be the definition of wealth in this social mind twister, says Just Nicklian. Yeah, I think I need to think through this idea a little bit more because it might be a bit flawed. Like someone in chat said, like, what about like creating wealth? I know there's just these arguments, right? What happens in like political discussions and stuff, as I see it in this current day and age, is that people have different views, and they tend to make like the worst argument of the other person. And then, not only in doing that, they tend to like exaggerate their own position. And I kind of feel like when you take the time to look at both sides of an argument, and you know, you don't straw man them, you try and interpretate them in the best way possible, it starts to get like really quite tricky to see which way things sort of go. So I always try and think of like thought experiments that kind of pick apart what the actual problem is and maybe give you a better insight into like what the issue is. So in picking it apart, I was just kind of thinking about like what are the extremes of wealth distribution and social mobility. So like if one person controls all the wealth in the world, then obviously you could say there's no social mobility. But like someone said, what about wealth creation? So maybe people in this extreme example can actually then go and create their own wealth. So it kind of like breaks apart the argument a bit, I think. But it had like a landing point that I couldn't remember the other day, and for some reason it's escaped me again. But earlier in the day I remembered it. I was like, oh yeah, that was where I was going with all that. Like, I should mention that, but now my brain's failed me again. I feel like there's like a real opportunity for a little bit more detail here. Maybe like some buttons, something simple on the side. I mean, that looks nice. It ties those bits together. That's actually pretty good. I'm liking that. I think maybe some trapdoors down the bottom here could serve it well. And as far as additional detail goes, I mean, it's this bit here that's just going to get bland, like all those spruce trapdoors. But we'll see. We'll see.
During the first stages, 5 seasons were endlessly flowing at the same time in different parts of this ancient land.
Maybe a mix of trapdoors, says Sam the Guardian. It's always like mixing textures is always a tricky one. When you got a big surface, it's easy, like, you know, these ones over here. When you got small surfaces, I'm very hesitant to do that, but it's often what makes some of the great builds on Hermitcraft and whatnot look really cool. So I'm thinking we need to assess at what height this goes into here. I think it's just simply going to be 1 block lower. So what height? What's the height difference here? Like, maybe I can do this with F3. So we're looking at 87 there, and here we're looking at 85. So it jumps up 2 steps. So if I can get a nice like even distance for how it jumps up, that could be cool. So let's go and add another 3. And then we'll have this block in here somewhere. Where's my axe? I feel like I'm using my axe a lot. Now I want that to go up by 1. And then maybe that there. Ooh, okay, and then what's gonna happen next? Slabs, so like 1, 2, 3. Then the next one, it could go up 1 again. This might work. The one guy I played Minecraft with destroyed 48 hours of work on a mega base 2 days ago. How'd you deal with that? Says Chicken in a suit. I would deal with something like that by... I mean, if you're talking about dealing with that person, that's a bit different. But I would deal with something like that, like remind yourself of, you know, how worse things can be. That's what I like to do when something like that happens. Like, try not to get too engrossed or involved in the value of essentially a computer game, right? Like when you've got a body with limbs and you can suffer horrible pains as people once did. Life was a lot tougher a long time ago. So for me it's like, if I can be upset over a computer game, there was once a time where that would be a luxury. So is it really worth it? That works for me, it doesn't work for anyone. A Snowy Cloel says, bold of you to assume I have a body with limbs. Very bold, I know, like, because of, you know, those gazillions and billions of people that all have limbs. I mean, I'm not taking the mick out of people that have suffered some unfortunate tragedy there. But it's a fair guesstimation, I would say. This one actually wants to be at the same height, doesn't it? Then the next one's up by 1 block. And all of this here is subject to change, as I like. Kind of wanted to push back this hill anyway, so we'll do it now. The other thing is, ties in with a common thing you'll hear quite often, that it's much easier to destroy than it is to create. But X, didn't you admit you're a robot, says Chilly Willy. I mean, what's that got to do with what I just said? Doesn't make it any more or less true, does it? Robots can have opinions. Oh, you're not being robotist, are you? God. What would that be, actually? Like, Robophonia? sounds like some, like, 60s record. Some, like, psychedelic rock. Robophonia. We should make a fake history of, some psychedelic band that influenced everyone with an album called Robophonia. Oh yeah, robophobic. That's where it's actually going, but somehow it changed to phobia. Phobic. Robophobic. I'd listen to that band, says State Naive. I'd probably listen to it too. I love coming up with like fake band names for metal bands and stuff. Cracks me up. Because metal likes to be extreme, but extreme can be pretty close to humorous as well. All that cheese, you know? Right, and then it's one higher just about here. Is that planks? It is. Wow. Happens a lot. There we go. Technophobic. Don't be a technophobe. That's more like technology though, isn't it? Robotics is more specific. Right, I realised I've left my Minecraft on the other screen. By mistake. And we got noises in the air which I've been ignoring. The Vixen! Thank you ever so much for subscribing. 31 months! Doomio Lag for 52! Meow Meow 1225 here with the Prime. And Focus Matters here with some cheers and bits saying, no matter your social, economic status, race, religion, skills or ability, the trajectory of your life is dependent on what you are focusing on. In life, your focus matters. Says Focus Matters. Thank you for the cheers and bits. I think whenever you try and make like an absolute statement about something, it becomes easy to pick apart because, like, often it's like tunnel vision, right? Like, to say what you are focusing on. Okay, right, so what are you focused on? Imagine it. Imagine you're like, oh, you're in the lab, you're working on this thing, you're going to change the world, you're going to change your life. Boom, a bomb hits the lab, you know, or you're crossing the street, boom, you get hit by a car. There are things beyond our control. So where we can assert our own control and our own effort in order to progress in life, other things can come along and destroy that. So, You know, and sometimes those things are structural. Sometimes they're the conditions that you start with, you know. Are you gonna do better if you start in sub-Saharan Africa, or like in a wealthy European affluent country like, you know, Norway or Sweden? Where do you think your chances are better? And that's based on the lottery of birth, something you didn't choose. No one chose their birth. And, you know, like, birthright is a thing, often associated with kings and queens. Maybe you can make an argument that, you know, like, inherited wealth and that has some merit to it. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But, like, I prefer to look at it like the lottery of birth. Didn't choose any of this. Got completely lucky. You know? Complete luck. To have these starting conditions. Yeah, maybe I go on and do some cool stuff, you know? Entertain people and whatnot. But, like, those starting conditions, totally out of my hands. So, like, how do I want to, if I'm the one shaping society, how do I want to shape it? I'm going to say, I had no control over that. So, like, if the starting conditions were more equal for all of us, surely that would be something we could strive for. You know? Absolutes are absolutely terrible, says Joe Dragon. I agree. Actually, no. Are all absolutes absolutely terrible? It is absolute that we should all try and be kind to each other. That's not as terrible as some other ones. But you know me. That's one thing I've learned in my little journey of thoughts is that any statement that comes across as like absolute, here's the answer, this is definitely true, tends to, like, you can always pick apart anything, really. Only a Sith deals in absolutes? Is that a prequel meme? Becca, thank you for gifting a sub to the Poker. The Poker! Glad to have you with us, dude. I saw you in chat. I was going to say something at an opportune moment. Peeps, the Poker's animation in the next one. Whew! I am excited for it. I am excited. Looks like it's going to be something special. I feel like it might be a cool idea to kind of like create a little bit of a wall around here. To sort of separate this down area from the top. There'll be a path coming over this way that goes into it. But yeah, we'll take control of that bit of the land, and then maybe this can have some proper structure. For now, though, I think that's okay. They say only a Sith deals in absolutes, but have you seen the Jedi Code? Peeps, all this Star Trek stuff, you know, it's way beyond me, okay? I'm not into that, Star Trek with all the aliens and the giant worms, okay? It's not quite my thing. Let's grab some more of this to make more of those. Probably still need more after that. Only 3, what? Okay. Gonna need some more rails. Gonna need to power those rails. Dang, how are we gonna do that? I think that's gonna be a powered redstone block. And then we cover it up with trapdoors. We're gonna need 2 or 3 of those. That one's just... Oh, I might make that one go up a level, actually. Actually, no, I won't. Okay, so we need 2. Yeah. And more of this. Do you see how slow we're building this? This is pretty much the pace I build stuff at anyway. I put hours into this game. God. So we'll have 2 again there. Now I don't think we need as many back here. Yeah, probably that'll do fine. Gets across to this bit. How's this gonna look? I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna go grab some calcite because that's gonna have that stuff around the back there. And this time I shall remember to press the button. Does that make you happy? Aaron! KT, thank you ever so much for the Prime subscription, dude. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, appreciate it, appreciate it. I think it's so fun to watch your live streams because there's such a clash from YouTube videos. Like, you pump out an entire megabase in a single episode on YouTube and here you discuss philosophy and relax. Yeah, I kind of like that they're different like that, you know? You get like 2 types of experience from me. But yeah, also you get an insight into like how long it takes me to make those videos as well. And it does take me some time. Right. The way he said calcite, I probably switch up the way I say it. Dang it, I need that other Minecraft now. I need to know where the roof of what I was doing is. Alright, let's load it up. Let's load it up. Everything's always slow. What is your opinion on punishment versus forgiveness? I'm much forgiveness. I'm much more in the camp of like reform and forgive and rehabilitate. I believe everyone, you know that saying like everyone deserves a second chance. I mean, people who are capable of doing egregious... Oh, dang it! I've fluffed it. I fluffed it, peeps. Oh god, the other one's going mental. You know that spinny like login lag that you see sometimes? Occasionally it does that but goes mental. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the roof. The roof is on fire. Let the mother fudger burn. Who remembers that one, eh? That is actually a banging song, even though that band are kind of terrible. Right. I think doing it at this height will be fine then. You have to hide that right there. My wife is a social worker, and I always tell her kids normally don't grow up wanting to be the villain. Totally right, totally right. I mean, like when you're born, you're in a way like a blank slate, right? Evil is taught. And in kids, it seems that love is inherent. It's already there. But I also believe that the worst of humanity is in all of us. I think, like, you shouldn't delude yourself to thinking that you're not capable of evil. And that might sound a little bit of like a, oh, you're actually a bad person or whatever. No, not like that. Just that, you know, like hunger. Hunger is a powerful thing. Okay, I wouldn't steal. Right? Got no reason to steal. My dad is a very glass half empty person. Anything you talk about doing, going here, going there. Oh, I'm getting a bike. I'm gonna lock it up at the local shops and do my shopping. And it's always oh, someone will nick it. And I think a lot of the time I think if someone needs to steal my bike, they probably need it more than I do. Okay? Like, I'll be fine if my bike gets stolen. So that's one thing. But like, hunger. You know, when people do crime and steal and stuff, like usually it's not as simple as just like, oh, I'm a bad person, I'm going to steal. There's other things going on there. There's other reasons, there's other whys to it. I think I might modify this actually, so it ends up with just having 2 beams there for that bit to go in, but you know, it's a massive Mahusive build, and yeah. Motives, says Plasma Hero. Yeah, and hunger is a powerful motive, believe me. Like, when you starve, you will be capable of doing things you don't want to be capable of doing. And that's why I think we're living like in an almost miraculous time compared to where we've lived in the past, where we can feed people on a massive scale and take away these things that would cause so much conflict and difficulty between people, like, you know, like shelter and food and water. These are things that people could fight over, but we can get them in abundance now. It's like a way forward. Oh my god, Xisuma, what a softie, in a good way, in a very good way, says Yaka. Tiaha. I mean, you could say I'm a softie, but I think like everything I'm saying is really well reasoned and rational. That's not true. Some people steal because they're selfish. I had my bike stolen when I was a teenager because the person stole it, wanted to sell it, and did that, but the person that brought it realised they brought a stolen one and returned it to me. Alright, Wicker, Stacy. So, when someone does something wrong to you, it is totally understandable to see the worst in them and to see it as a bad thing, but like, it's much harder to reason for them in a more compassionate, empathetic way, right? So, you know, when someone steals a bike to make money, okay, chances are they're not a millionaire, right? I don't think a lot of millionaires go out doing robbing, and if they do, it's probably a different kind of psychology then. It's probably like they're looking for a thrill or a rush. I don't know. But, you know, okay, maybe they're not like the worst, in the worst situation possible. Maybe they got things that they could realise, you know, house over their heads, reasons not to steal, but like, always think of the psychology of it. I don't think anyone like actually wants to go out there and rob and steal and do horrible things, but it's like other pressures in society, the ways people think about themselves. It's almost like, you know, think of it as like a psychological state that you would want to cure. Just because they don't have money for a bike doesn't make it okay to steal someone else's, says Selec. I'm not talking about, I haven't said any of this is okay, right? Bad behavior isn't okay, but my point would be that like the sort of digging in of heels, expressing like, you know, moral superiority and then condemnation, I don't see how that helps. I think you can educate people and make them understand the concept of, or you know, kids, like the concept of stealing is bad. You can educate people, but like the condemnation part, that's not a solution in my mind. That doesn't move us forward or anything like that. It's either greed or hunger. There's something to be said about greed, yeah. But again, okay, like everyone starts as a child, a blank slate. So like if you become greedy, if you become mean, like what are the things that lead you there? They're usually externalities. Things in the environment around you that have taken you to that place, made you think and feel that way. The environment is like part of the equation of the individual. That's why I always think about just like, you know, you can see it sort of permeate in so many different ways. Like in cultures, there are different cultural norms, and that's just because the environment shapes the person, right? Like, let's get a cultural difference going in chat. Like, Japan. In Japan, they don't have janitors in their schools, right? They don't have bins on the street, and you won't see litter anywhere because it's part of their culture to clean up. Kids are the janitors of the schools. They clean up all this stuff, right? And it's just the culture that you clean as you go. America, for example, and England over here as well, very different. We have like a disposal culture. You buy disposable products with like wrapping paper on it and whatnot, and people just throw it away. In Japan, they don't do that. They, you know, if they have litter, they put it in their pocket and take them with them and dispose of it when they get home. Now, if we took all the Japanese people at birth and we took all the Americans, we swapped them around, right? We take 1,000 from here and 1,000 from there, swap them at birth. Okay, they grow up in the different cultures. Do you think all 1,000 of them are just going to behave differently? They're just going to go, oh, this whole no littering thing, what are you on about? I'm just going to throw them a litter anyway. No, they're going to be like the society that they grow up in. They're going to adopt those social norms and whatnot. Oh, you don't have a roof on your head. That's weird. So the next thing to do is to kind of like get the thing that goes from this side over to the next side, and this might be a bit more painful because I didn't really think about this too much when I designed all this. And I need that other Minecraft that ain't even here yet. Let's load it up and see what's going on. Remember, reason is not the same as an excuse. You can know why someone did something and still know that it's wrong. Absolutely, yeah. I'm not making excuses for people's behaviour. Like I said, the condemnation doesn't achieve anything. Even though we're right to say this is wrong behaviour, shouldn't do this or whatever. Point is, like, if we look at like what's underneath it all, we can look at how society could be shaped differently to remove these things, like to remove the starting conditions. A child is a blank slate. They are taught hate. If they, if oh god, I did it again. If someone becomes hateful, so that all the things in your character, in your being, if you're air quotes criminal, a bad person, like you have to learn to be that. You have to learn it at some point, and that's kind of like the point for me. Is that, well, you learn it from your environment. So how can we make the environment differently? Now, I believe like genetics plays a part of this as well. I don't think it's exclusively environment. I think it's a mixture of both. But I am pretty pretty deep in the camp, though, that I think I'm gonna make a modification here. I'm gonna bring the villager through this gap, because without adding a little bridge there for the villager to go through, like this was like very tightly built around the size of this contraption, which by the way is too big for my needs. I've learned it could have been a little bit smaller. Nature and nurture, says Just Nicklin. Yeah, that's it. Nature and nurture, that old one. Right, now that I know what I'm doing, I'm gonna go get the prismarine and make it happen. Xisuma is a great actor, says Impact. Thanks. I'm not sure what acting I've been doing today, but okay. X, love your level of headedness. But what about crimes that aren't accounted for? Like billionaires who commit fraud and get away with it. Or don't allow their employees to unionize, says Azure Blue Eyes. So this is where we're like getting to like levels of abstraction, maybe. Like, it's much easier to understand the concept of oh, you're gonna love this. Okay, it's much easier to understand the concept of like, you're here, I'm here, I punch you. Like, we're all like, why'd you do that? That's bad. Physical harm. Very easy to understand. Things in like that are more complex, financial systems, distribution of wealth, then it gets like a lot more difficult to break down. But here's something that I heard in a podcast I was listening to that absolutely fascinated me. I've probably brought it up here before, but like, okay, you're going to receive physical harm, okay? Now think through how you react differently to these three things. You're going to receive the same amount of harm each time. Something's going to punch you in the arm, right? It's another human being that punches you in the arm. You're probably going to have emotional weight towards that individual. You're going to resent the actions they took upon you. I remember you. You're that one that punched me in my arm when I was having a bad day, okay? Now that is going to be a different reaction to that of an animal. You know, like a monkey in the wild. Because, you know, over here in England, we've got loads of monkeys in the wild. You know, just whacks you in the arm all of a sudden and runs off. You're going to feel differently about that. You're like, oh, it's an animal. You know, it doesn't know any better. Remember, we're animals too, right? Then what about a inanimate object that all of a sudden just, you know, something snaps and a shelf sort of collapses and whacks you in the arm? You're going to feel very differently about that to the other two examples I labelled, right? Now, the thing that's really difficult to probably grasp here... Oh, this thing's going to have to go up a couple of blocks. Is that all three of those can effectively be the same if you remove free will from the equation, right? Now, you might think animals don't have free will. I don't know what the general thought on that one is, actually. But if you remove free will from that equation, and you look at a person as a product of their environment and all the things that they went through to lead them to that one point in time where they made that decision. Okay, because the person is aware of the hurt they have caused, it hurts emotionally. Yes, but like, you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong to think that, but like, pick it apart from the perspective of not having free will, that people are products of their environment, and like, you know, I always used to think about this when I was younger. Like, if you took a slice of time and hit pause, and then you hit play, wouldn't the thing that you pause from always play out the exact same way? Because the starting conditions are always identical. Now, if you believe in free will, you might think that, like, let's say we're talking about a person making a decision. Like, are they going to put this foot forward and slip on the banana peel, or are they going to put that foot forward and miss it and be fine? Right? But if you imagine you're hitting pause and you're creating like a save state of the universe right before that next bit happens, in my mind it always plays out the same way, because I think brain chemistry is where the decision making is happening. So for me it makes me think like how much control do you actually have over stuff? If your free will is actually just a product of your brain chemistry. So like, what is then the difference between inanimate objects and people when you take that out of the equation? I love how that question like gets the brain ticking over about what we are and what free will is. For a lot of people though, the whole no free will thing doesn't work for them, and that's fine. That's fine. Ah! That's not good. Oh, is that doubly not good? Because, dang it. I was supposed to think about this. I was supposed to be very aware that might cause an issue. Okay, that won't though, so we'll put it there. There are so many opinions in chat, and like, I don't know which one to pick up on next. Random quantum fluctuation, says Nuclear Slayer. Well, at the quantum level, things are not random though, are they? They're probabilistic, which is not the same as random. I almost don't think there is such a thing as random. I can't see how anything truly random could exist. Like, not from anything really beyond like a gut instinct. I just think like randomness is like madness, because the world seems to, like, physical reality seems to revolve around a set of laws and equations, right? Like, we're talking physics now. Like, what is the universe, and why does stuff work, and what are the rules? To me, it's like throwing madness in. Like, imagine throwing random into a maths equation. Like, what if 2 plus 2 didn't always equal 4 because of random? Then it's like, well, what the heck's random? Like, what's that doing? How's that being decided? There is no such thing as consciousness. Oh, coincidences. Coincidences. Oh god, like that guy on TikTok. We are energetically aligned. Oh. I don't. May School's in chat saying, and that's why in computer science there's no such thing as true random and more like pseudo-random. Yeah. So I've looked into that as well. I've looked into like how computers generate random numbers, and they can't actually be truly random. There's always prior influence into something happening. That's what I kind of think about thought. So everything that I'm saying now, right, is it my free will, right, or is it all the experiences I've been through before? Because like, I had to hear these ideas before I could express them to you. So they came from somewhere else. You know? And like, you start off as a blank slate as a child, and then you learn concepts and ideas, and I don't know, like for me the free will thing, I feel like I think it's an illusion, but I think at the same time it's a great illusion, and knowing that it's an illusion is almost like a gift. Because it makes me think more about like, what person do I want to be if I'm going to be like influenced by all the things I go through. Like, okay, so then how do I want to spend my time? What am I going to do? What's the quality? What's the value of it? What things am I going to interact with and listen to? You know? Like, I'm gonna choose to listen to like some mindless gossip podcast, or am I gonna listen to a podcast with like a physicist discussing philosophy? Like, you can make those choices, because I'm aware that that's going to influence how I think and feel. It's like, and it almost feels sometimes like it's like a compounding thing as well. The more you realise it, the more you like want to embrace it. Like, it's weird. It's like it almost feels like you have more control. Even though that goes completely against the point of not believing in free will. But like, here we are on a crazy tangent again. Is making those choices not exercising free will, says Polyvellum. Like, okay, so I think I can distill it with like, think about habits, right? You have a habit of doing something. Now, are your habits always like a part of free will, or are they habitual? Do you will the same thing over and over again? I'm going to exercise today, I'm going to exercise tomorrow, or are they like habits? Like, this relates to so many things about being a person. Like, habits are like almost like pre-programmed responses, because the way you talk can be a habit. If you think about how your language is shaped, like when you talk, it's like you have a certain variety of words that you will go to, things that you will talk about, an accent, like all these things are built in that are habits, habitual, routine, not so much free will. So like in being aware of this idea, like I feel like I build up these habits. I'm like, I'm going to habitually do this, I'm going to habitually do that. Like, walking's a great one. I love walking, I do it habitually. But like, I had to build that. I never used to do that. Actually, to be fair, walking's a bad example because I always loved walking. Like, when we were all, me and my friends were all teenagers, like, if we had to walk somewhere, I always loved it. I always loved a good walk. And other people didn't. And I was like, what's the problem? Let's go across town to see so-and-so. And because I'd enjoy the walk. Right, anyway, where are we at with this? Because I got to do some villager curing stuff, and I feel like this thing deserves a detail or two more. I kind of see a spot to put in something, but it might not look that good. Habits can be broken if they prove they're not making yourself better, healthy, well-rounded. Oh yeah, you can change habits. You can have bad habits. It's like, maybe a better example is something you do a bit more subconsciously. Like, maybe you bite your nails, or I don't know, you're fidgety or something, you know, this, that, or the other. Just think about like what it is. Like, you'll do it without thinking about it a lot of the time. So is that free will? Are you exercising free will when you all of a sudden realise, oh, I'm biting my nails, or I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of like a bad habit I might have, like, I don't know. I don't bite my nails. I do this thing, right, between my finger and my thumb, where the nails, right, I got this like bit of nail that's hard to cut on my thumb because I cut my nails frequently, and because it's hard to cut, it means it's got this little like bulge that you can clip with the other finger. And for some reason I started doing it one day, and like, I just do it without thinking about it. I'll just be like pushing my nail into the other one. It's a stupid little thing that I do. Now, every time I do that, am I choosing to do that? Because that's a habit. And I don't think that I am choosing to do that. Bad habit X has eating too much bread. Just this week. We need to put those turtle eggs in now, and I've forgotten where they put them. Also, I really need to go to the toilet. I'll tell you what, I'm going to nip to the loo. I'll be right back, peeps.
Il est là depuis toujours. Et avant toujours.
Si seulement nous pouvions le savoir.
Get ready to scream bad streamer at him when he gets back, hee hee, says Skip Varm. Bad streamer? Yeah. Mace says his bladder is choosing for him in this case. You know what? I was going there and I was thinking, what can I say next about all of this? Like, when you walk or choose to do something, like, there's a lot of automation. You don't sort of clean up the house thinking left foot, right foot, you know. Bend over this way, bend over that way. Like, and when you walk somewhere and you talk to someone at the same time, you definitely don't think left foot, right foot, you know? Like, there are all these, like, subroutines going on that your subconscious can, like, take over, right? So how much of that is a choice? Or is it just, like, autopilot? Freak Burrito, thank you for 39 months of support. We got Face Roll 85, Binky the Boss, Keldron 155 with the Prime, Adithai Tar has subscribed, and we got Sibeshi. Here are some cheers and bits saying, I don't think humans have free will. Excuse me, but human and non-human animals are sentient, meaning they have their own subjective experience and emotions and mental states according to those experiences. Yes. But here's the thing. I really like what you said, by the way. Thank you for the cheers and bits. Like, proving that the things are sentient. I mean, we kind of agree amongst ourselves that us humans are sentient, right? Unless you're a solipsist. But oh my goodness me, let's not go down that rabbit hole. But like, the idea of like conscious experience, like how do we determine at what level that starts? Do insects have it? Do small animals have it? Like, maybe everything is conscious. But our consciousnesses are separate from one another. Although we like experience consciousness and can communicate. Communication is the reason we know, like, I'm conscious, you're conscious. But like, what if you can't communicate? Where do we know where it starts and ends? We got Main Game Central. Thank you for the Prime. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Cleo wants you X in voice chat. Aha. It's helping Hermit's time. Wait, that key. Aha. Wait, I'm muted. Great.
Reason why this is working in a really weird way. Oh,
hello?
Listen to that noise. Oh, hi.
Hello, is that Cleo?
It is.
And how on earth are we talking to each other right now?
I would assume because you are in the chat room that I set up for HHH. That would be logical. But
it is the magic of the voice mod.
Yeah.
Which is not his name.
I never considered you as logical. It's not. It's not. How you doing, X?
I'm alright, thanks. I was so deep in a discussion that I completely forgot about HHH.
Yeah, I know. They told me that you had a free will thing going on, and I'm just like, that seems
yeah,
unethical.
I was trying to convince people that free will is an illusion and that they have no control over their lives.
That's right. That's why you're here too. Because as soon as I started complaining about you, you did what I said and you joined the you did the voice chat.
Exactly.
See,
it's
we
all
all know
illusion.
X doesn't have free will.
I know.
have free will because I make X do things. See, that's how that works.
So what? So you are God.
In this instance, yes.
This sounds fair.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Do you know if we have a plan today?
I know. We don't have a plan, but I have a mission from. Well, Joe's not coming, because it's Labor Day or something like that. It sounds like a made-up holiday.
It sounds like he should be here doing work.
Yeah, I know, right?
On
but
Labor
apparently
Day.
it's a holiday on Labor Day. Yeah. I figured because it was just me in this voice chat because somebody was having a conversation about free will. I figured I would help Joe. I know, it's terrible. How dare you? Yeah, because Joe's been building the massive wall on our castle. And he needs resources. So I figured I would get Joe some resources whilst we're here.
Cool. What do you need?
Lots and lots of sandstone. I mean, and what actually is Joe making the wall out of? Sandstone and wood and mushroom. Well, that's what
mushroom stems.
No, not stems. Not stems. We're not that crazy.
That's crazy
it's like
level.
Brown mushroom blocks. But to be honest, that isn't the hardest part. The hardest part has been keeping up with the insane lust for sandstone.
Okay.
So
it's lust?
It obviously everything is.
Choice of language.
Did you not know that? Check your free will eggs.
I don't have any, apparently.
No, you don't. Not anymore. It's mine now. No, anyway. Sorry, you've probably picked a weird day because I'm in a bit of a weird mood, so, you know, we're all good. I have turned off all my sounds. That is correct. Okay, so, yeah, I'm going to head to the desert, buy some shulker
cool.
boxes.
I was about to ask, like, where are we going? Because
yeah, let's go to the desert. And then...
I mean, that is a good place to get sandstone.
I mean, it helps, I've noticed. So...
Well, I can join you.
Yeah.
I'm just
feel free.
tidying away my inventory at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just getting some chests from Doc. 4, 5, 6, 7. I can get 7. I'm just going to dig directly through his chest pile. 1,
Do you know
2,
what? I think
3,
Doc. I
4,
think Doc
5,
is charging
6,
too much
7.
for those shulker boxes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think he's trying to
course.
fleece us.
But it wouldn't be Doc if he wasn't trying to fleece us.
Yeah, maybe.
That's basically Doc's raison d'etre, like in every single season.
It's to make diamonds.
Is to make diamonds and, you know, just
If I could pay with derp coins, then I'm all in, but...
well, if I could pay with derp coins, I haven't got my next shipment from Evil X though.
Oh, I'll have
He
to
promised
nudge him
me
about
them
that.
weekly. Yeah, I haven't seen him about to shout at him.
He's
So
kind of
maybe
hard
if
to
you
get
could
hold
chat
of
with-
sometimes, you know?
I know.
I was
I'm
like,
gonna have to
hey,
set
someone had a
trap for him.
complaint the other day, and he was like, not now.
Yeah.
So,
I'm gonna have to I'll set a door trap for him. He's not smart.
You shouldn't have told me that, but okay.
Why? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna tell him? That seems illogical.
No,
How would
I
you know
won't. I
otherwise?
won't. I'll keep it to myself.
You do that.
Oh well.
There's no possible way Evil X will ever understand.
Oh, do you like the status mod, by the way?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I used it today when I said, "Don't talk to me," and nobody talked to me.
And put
It's
it
great.
to red.
Yeah.
That means we can still talk in chat, though, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, typing is fine. You can't be rude and not say hello to everybody.
Yeah, we're gonna make some modifications to it as well as we go along, which is cool.
Like what?
I'm here
Where?
at the desert.
Here? Oh, I'm literally behind you.
All right, cool.
So, what does the mod do? The mod do... hang on, I'll show you in a second when I'm through the pool. Hello!
Hey,
The mod
Yeah.
do that. If you want to talk, it's green. If you're streaming, it's purple. So you can see me and X are streaming.
I don't think
Doc
Impulse is, though.
AFK.
I think Impulse forgot to change his.
Well, yeah, we can't have everything. Impulse is just... Yeah. Okay, I'm going to put, like, a whole bunch of these shulker boxes down here. And
Is this like how much sandstone we need?
we're going to... Well, I need quite a bit of sandstone, but if you don't want to fill sandstone boxes, that's fine. You can find wood. We need loads of that.
Do you know what type?
We need oak and we need birch, actually.
And those are pretty easy
So-
to farm. You can just put them in a row.
Yeah. Yeah,
You wanna
that
have
was,
a
that was
beacon.
the plan. Well, Joe's really rubbish beacon set up at our place, but it's, it's better than my beacon. So
How is a
You know.
beacon rubbish? Like, how does a beacon setup become? Rubbish.
well, if it's an iron beacon, if it's a diamond beacon, if the iron
I'm still
beacons are rubbish,
confused.
if it's- well, because it's just that's how they are.
Does he not
It's
have
just
haste on
law
it?
of averages. No, he's got mining speed for some reason.
That's haste.
Uh,
I mean, what I'm getting at is like you want to chop down the trees with haste on, so you chop them down faster.
yeah, but that only works if they're growing fast enough to, deal
true.
with that.
There's no beacon for growing fast, but there is bone meal.
I mean, there is, and I do have an infinite supply of bone meal. So,
There you go.
yeah.
I think my chat still wants to talk about free will.
Okay, well, you tell us about free will and the fact that you don't have any. Go on.
Well,
Just-
first of all, where are you on this? Do you believe you have free will?
I believe that I have free will.
Okay.
We've just established this.
End of
Cleo has
discussion.
free will. Yeah.
No,
No
I
one
ju-
else does. I
just
tell them
thinking-
what to do.
I'm just thinking where to start with this. So, because usually it's just like I just talk to myself essentially, right? When I'm streaming.
Pretty much full time, I've noticed.
Yep. So let's start with something like habits and autopilot. Like, if you're walking somewhere, you're probably thinking about it. If you're walking with someone and talking, you're probably thinking far less about like, this foot then that foot, this foot then that foot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have the free will, as you see it, to, move your body however you like. But there are times when you're not even thinking about it and it's just happening. So who's in
Yeah.
control in those moments?
Who's in control? You are.
Which
Your
part
body
are you?
is it? Well, your brain. 'Cause
Right.
You can't. Your brain is the thing that sends signals to it. Whether,
Yes.
What you're really asking is your brain in control of you, or are you in control of your brain?
Yeah, that's where I was going to go next, because a lot of the time it boils down to the brain.
Yeah. And arguably, if you're going in it from that direction, then you are not in control because your brain does things on automatic to protect you.
Yes.
So because if you look at automatic reactions,
Reflexes.
to be honest, reflexes. To be honest,
Reflexes
most
are like better examples than habits in a way, because like,
Yeah.
aren't you always impressed with like a really good reflex when you like catch a cup as it falls out of the cupboard?
Well, some reflexes won't even go to your brain. So, for example, if you touch something hot, that will trigger in your spinal cord rather than your brain. That motor reflex.
Oh,
so
wow.
your brain isn't even in charge there. So Cleo going all science teacher on X. Well,
That's awesome.
So yeah, so that reflex loop.
So
Isn't,
not
isn't
all of
part
it
your-
happens at the brain level.
No. I mean, it's all goes to the brain eventually, but yeah, to protect you, your body will have developed things that just it's too far to go to your brain if you're going to continue hurting yourself.
Too slow.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you. You have no free will.
No, you don't. I haven't convinced you.
I mean, you don't need to convince me. I'm kind of already there. Anything that convinces people to question themselves, let's do it. Let's get all the nitty gritty, hideous questions. It's good. Questioning yourself is good.
Of course it is.
Questioning other people, even better. Question their motives. X.
Well, what motives do they have? They don't have free will.
Well, yeah, but do they not have? But do they have not free will on a muscular level, or is it not free will at all?
That's interesting. So you would say that a reaction at the muscular level, you wouldn't define that as free will, would you?
Well, no, because then you're sort of a prisoner in your own body, or a prisoner of your own body.
I mean, before we make it sound grim, let's just think like, what's to say the brain isn't a muscle,
grim.
right?
Because it's not a muscle. Don't. I'm sorry, X. There are muscle tissue and motor neuron tissue and all that kind of muscular stuff. The brain is not that. It's full of neurons and stuff. No. It's an organ, yes.
But like
so
neurons have configurations and states, right? They're kind of like hardware in a way. They're like a computer. So imagine that we take this slice of time right now and we hit the pause button. And then you hit play. Like the entire universe, all of reality paused. It's like a save state. You can copy it. You can hit play over and over again and see what happens. Does the same series of events always follow? Because all of those little particles, all of those, they're all moving in the same direction once you hit play. All of those neurons are gonna fire in the same way.
Well, they are, but they're gonna fire in the same way. But that doesn't mean that they're necessarily received in the same way. Because you have multiple pathways in your brain.
Right. So you're getting at like that there's a fork in the road and you don't know what way it's going to go.
Yeah, because like it's based on electricity. It'll generally go from the path of least resistance in electrical wiring in general, but specifically in brain. You don't know what's going to happen. The slightest change. You know the butterfly effect. Yeah, it's like chaos theory. You don't know what's going to happen just because things have happened one way. You don't know that it's going to happen exactly the same.
Yes.
So.
However, like you're talking about things that are probabilistic, as opposed to random. Now, this is where like my argument probably ends to some extent, because I kind of have like a gut feeling that like randomness surely can't fit into like reality. Like, if there are laws and structures, and to use like mathematics as an example of that, if you had randomness in maths, it wouldn't work. Like, if 2 + 2 sometimes equals 5, it doesn't make any sense. Like,
but anything... that's not it's not mathematically random though. It's randomness based on chemistry. Well, not even chemistry. It's randomness based on particles, which are their movement, etc., is truly random.
Right, that is not quite right as I understand it. Like, it's a common misconception with like things at the quantum level, what they call it, the slot experiment. Oh, see, I'm terrible at recycling what I've heard. But I've heard it expressed by, because I like to listen to podcasts with physicists and whatnot, as like a common misconception that it's randomness, and that random invokes
you're talking about quantum state. That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay, go
on. When I'm talking about particles and the movement of particles, I'm talking about you can't generally predict where those are going to go. It's just
I've not come across it described like that before. I've not come across someone saying that the movement of these particles are just going to be random.
Movement of those particles, movement of like atoms and stuff. It's all vibrational. So you can't necessarily predict which way they're going to go.
I've not like ever come across hearing it described like that. So I don't really know what to say.
When you say it, what are you talking about?
The movement of particles. I've not heard them as being unpredictable.
Right. Okay. So, like, I'm gonna take you back to GCSEs, and I'm very sorry for that. Okay, particles. When we're talking about particles and we're talking about atoms, understand solids, liquids, gases, etc.
Yep.
Yeah. The reason why those things exist is because of like the vibrations of them and the energy levels, right? Right. The reason why things broke down into water is because the particles get more energy and they vibrate more. So you can't necessarily predict what's going to happen to a particle, etc. and what it's going to do based on how much energy you've given it. And if the energy changes, it's going to do a whole different thing. Science lessons with Cleo.
complete. So energy and particles and the energy that they have, you give it more energy. There's no telling what it'll do.
Well, it will vibrate more, but there's no real way of predicting what it will do unless you put it in. You encapsulate it. You put it into a container.
And when it's in a container, then
this isn't
is
even
it
quantum physics. This is just physics.
Okay.
You can tell me that it's not going to get out of the container usually.
But like, you put a particle in a container, right? And then you feed it energy.
Right.
Can you create like a predictable result from that? We feed it energy in this way, and it does this.
If you feed it enough energy, you turn it into plasma, which is not my realm of expertise. I have no idea. But you know, I think that's a bad idea to get going into, to be honest.
Okay, so like I've not really, like, in listening to all the stuff about physics and whatnot, I've never really like encountered what you're describing.
That's chemistry.
Chemistry,
then. Not physics.
But I've
really.
never really encountered this idea of like, we don't know what it's going to do. It's random, air quotes. So like maybe.
Well, it's because it reacts to the stimuli that it's within, which is partly what you're talking about, but also because you don't actually know in physics or chemistry what the actual things that you've put into it are, because we're talking about things on like the micro level.
Yeah.
So you can never be certain that what you've put into it is what you've put into it.
Yeah, it's too precise to measure, or too difficult to measure.
It's too small.
Too small
to measure. Yeah. So you know it's difficult. So
is what you're describing here like a key component of chaos theory?
I don't know enough about chaos theory to talk about it. This is just chemistry and physics. Your basic stuff. Like the very basic stuff. This is GCSE. So
some people in my chat are, only a few people, but some people are saying that what you're saying isn't correct. I don't know if that's true or not.
Mm-hmm. It might be wrong. Like I say, there is the possibility that I have completely, because I am not a physicist, I have taken what I know and I've bent it. That is possible.
Someone is saying that I'm looking at it from a theoretical perspective and you're looking at it from a practical, and that we're both right as well.
That seems likely as well.
That would tie into like what I was trying to say about equating it to maths. Like I think a reality, like down at the atomic level and beyond or whatever, is surely it's got to be like a set of rules that always have to be respected. Because I don't see like how does things work if no rules or randomness is at the center of it. Like, to me, I mean, maybe it's a case of scale. Maybe you can get away with it on a small level.
Well, it's the whole once you observe something, it changes. It's that principle.
Yes, Schrodinger's cat. Poor cat.
Yeah, the Schrodinger's cat. I mean, that's observable from the slot exercise that you did.
Yeah, the slot one though, like the common misconception there, as I hear it, is that people think of it as randomness when it's actually probability, which is like quite a different thing. Because if you have truly random results, then that's random. But if you have probabilistic, it could infer that like there are conditions that are influencing the probability, or that there's more structure to it. There's more to be understood there.
Let's bottle X in a little glass box and predict where he goes.
Someone say that in chat.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Gonna put X in a little glass vial and see where he pops off to. I don't mind. Like, they can make fun all they want. Like, if I come off as a complete dum-dum, I'm cool with it. No,
I am a dum-dum on some level.
You know what? I don't even think that intelligence levels matters on this. I think it's a case of, are you willing to ask questions? Are you willing to be wrong?
I am willing to ask questions and be wrong over and over again, and also forget the answers.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Which I do. I'm very forgetful. It is so annoying. Because I'm always like listening to podcasts and stuff, and then I'm like, hey, I heard this amazing thing, and I can
I
half
heard this
remember
thing,
it,
but
and I can't remember where I heard it.
And it was definitely a thing that I heard.
Exactly. I have been considering actually like keeping a journal of stuff that I listen to, and maybe like note taking. I hear that note taking is like really good in academia. If you read a book, take notes, they say.
I mean, yeah, that's what I would always recommend to the kids.
See, when I was at school, I
they
didn't
find
listen to
something
teachers.
interesting. You see, that's partly where I think your problems come from, X.
Had a bad time.
I'm
at
not
school.
saying you're a bad student or you've had a bad education. I'm saying you just don't listen to people. Or at
I
least
do listen.
didn't.
I've listened to you and taken what you said seriously. I really want to look into it now. Actually, I'm very curious to see if I've just like been listening to all these physicists talk about stuff and like misunderstood some of the basic principles all along.
I mean, I think if you listen to people at a high enough level, you're always going to imagine that
You know what they
you've
know.
understood what they.
Yeah.
You've understood what it's what the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yeah, it's definitely not that. I do take it all with a pinch of salt. Like, I think I know what they're on about, but it's like I could pretty
But it's
much
just sort
be
of like as
completely
soon
wrong.
as you actually know what they're talking about, you realise you don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, you don't know
anymore.
what you don't know.
Yeah, kind of.
Mm.
Close enough.
Indeed.
I mean, you know.
Greatest things are invisible says the difference between science and goofing off is writing it down.
It down. Ah, somebody else is a fan of the Mythbusters.
Oh, is
That's one of
that
their
the
things.
TV show?
Yeah. That was their catchphrase. The difference between goofing off and science is writing it down. So.
Awesome. Do you have more shulker boxes
I
that you
do.
want filled up? I'm gonna keep this sand.
If keep the sand. I'm not fussed about the sand. The sand is negligible. We got sand. Oh, there's a creeper there. That's always worrying. It's
Oh,
worrisome.
just hanging out. Probably crawled out of a cave.
I don't. Some of this has got my stuff in it. I don't know where my stuff is. It's that one. I'll take that one back. Did we fill up these boxes already?
Pretty much, yeah.
Nearly. Okay. That's cool. Oh dear.
Do creepers have free will?
No, they're a code of ones and zeros that have set predetermined patterns.
Code is law. I heard that quote the other day. I love it. Although, I don't know if you watch Veritasium, but
I think I have in the past, but
it is possible for. Now, see, here's where I butcher things like photons or neurons, like flying through space. I forget the exact ones. It is possible for one of those to fly through a computer chip at the exact right time and affect the memory and flip a 1 in binary to a 0.
Okay, so photons are the things that fly through space. Neurons are the things that are in your brain. Although right now I'm questioning the ones in your brain.
Apparently it's cosmic rays that do it. It's called a bit flip.
Right.
So like
Okay, I
a
didn't know
cosmic
that.
ray
That's
can come out of
interesting.
space and like incredibly slim. Apparently, what was the statistic? He had a statistic for it as well. For like, it'll happen once every 4 months for every like 512 megabytes of RAM or something like that.
Yeah.
And
We're
might
being
cause a blue screen
bombarded
of
with
death.
rays, cosmic rays all the time. I mean, that would explain most of my blue screens of death in the last 10 years, I think. It's like, what happened there? I don't know.
They're the
Mind
worst.
you, I never do.
No, I remember using computers in the 90s and noughties, and it was like crashing just happened all the time, and you would just put up with
See,
it.
I had my first computer was in 1983. Never crashed.
Really?
Never crashed.
Actually, you know what? Now you
Yeah.
say it, the first computer I had access to was an Amstrad, and I don't remember it crashing.
Me too. Amstrad CPC, I think it was. I had.
Did it have a
when I was
green
very
screen?
little. It had a blue and yellow screen.
Ah, see, yeah, they used to like have like limited color selections.
Yeah.
We had a green one, and my uncle had a color one, but it was like 8 colors.
Yeah.
I'd seen the blue ones as
I think
well.
CPC stands for Color Personal Computer because we had 3-inch floppies
Yep,
on that
I remember
computer.
those.
No, not 3.5-inch floppies, 3-inch
Oh.
floppies. Before the standardization of floppy disks.
I remember there being like these really like literally like flimsy floppy big ones that were like 5 inches, I think.
Oh yeah, the 5-inch floppy.
Yeah, there were those.
The 5-inch floppies.
We had
I remember those.
We had a cassette player you could attach to it, and you would load games from a cassette. So
and it would take about an hour to load all the games from the cassette, and then when they crashed, you would have to reload it for an hour.
I think it'd be fascinating to like be able to go back in time and experience that again as is, like not like firing up a machine now, because so much stuff is so like on demand and available, and you like don't have the tolerance for it. Like I occasionally get like a nostalgic itch to like play cannon fodder, and I go play it and I'm like, oh god, this is intolerable, this game is so slow, you know?
Trying to explain to children what gaming used to be like is fascinating, because they're just like, I don't understand. Well, you just plug in the game and it goes, and you have to wait for it to load up. Yes, but imagine waiting for over an hour.
Yeah.
Cleo's age is public knowledge, yes. I am in my 40s. Literally.
I'm not far behind.
No. I mean, I think most of the hermits are either late 30s now, or
Yeah.
some of them are in their
But
20s, but
like Hermitcraft's
majority of
like,
us-
you know, 10 years. Is it 10?
Yeah.
10 years in
10
April.
10
so
years.
Oh, that's a decade.
Yeah, it's you know, those of us who have been around since its well, close enough to its inception. We're getting on in years now.
Yep. Mace
She
Schools,
doesn't sound a day over 39. There.
Mace Schools reminded me of something really cool that anyone who played, DOS games should know about. Have you heard of a website called archive.org?
Yeah, I know archive.org.
So that now supports old abandonware DOS games to the point where the emulator now just runs in the browser. So it's like literal plug and visit and play,
Nice.
I don't know if you ever messed around with DOSBox trying to play old school games or anything like that, but like it used to be a bit of work, whereas now it's like, hey, just visit this website.
Just plug and play. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. So you can go to all those nostalgic games and realise that they suck.
I mean, the game that I remember more than anything was from like my childhood game was a game on the CPC called Sorcery Plus.
I have to look this up.
It was revolutionary at the time. It was a colour game, and you had to go and rescue all these sorcerers, and you had to collect items, and it was top notch. But as with all those games that are rolled, it was hard as nails.
Yes,
because
they used to be tough.
You could never finish them, or at least you couldn't unless you got like cheats and stuff. And I remember I had a game called Feud on that set. Like, this is like going back a while, which was 2 old cranky wizards getting spells together to murder each other. And you just had to walk around, collect these spells, and then just shank this guy with your magic spells.
I'm going to picture a game, right? A wizard shanks another wizard.
Yeah, with magic. Yeah. It like my childhood with games was like, I mean, I was a proper nerd growing up, so
I played a lot of games. I never really like considered myself like massively into it, but I always had access to a computer and would play games on it. Like,
yeah,
a lot of DOS games was like my childhood.
My mum, when I was growing up, she worked with computers, so there was always a computer in the house.
Yeah.
And I say she worked with computers. She was a typesetter, but she liked computers. So,
Typesetter?
it was a case of...
I've not heard that before.
Okay, her job was basically turning manuscripts, handwritten manuscripts or typed manuscripts, into computer-typed stuff.
Got ya.
So, before the days when everybody just typed on computer.
Oh, here's the thing now.
That was what
like,
they did.
You know, you can
manuscripts.
pull out your phone and put it over text, and it'll convert it. Like when I was on holiday, we were looking at menus, and I was using Google, and it's like you put it over the menu, and it translates it into English. It was just
it's mad.
absurd.
It's just, how does it?
It'll get more and more seamless with time, I reckon. Like, I reckon at some point someone's going to come up with like screens that are basically paper, right? And then in that you can have stuff like Google Translate. That's already here?
That's already here. There was a guy at my school who had this tablet that he could write on, and it was just like paper. And it could convert things. It could convert things that he wrote into charts, and it had access to the. Oh,
that sounds awesome.
That's not. It was really cool, and I really wanted one, and then I thought, I don't actually need one.
Do you remember the name of it?
No, I don't, but it cost like 600 quid, and I'm just like...
imagine, yeah.
Yeah, I can't afford that. I mean, I can afford that, but I can't see a place where I would ever use that.
Honestly, though, that sounds like next level. If they can bring that cost down, which
that's the thing, isn't it?
with enough time it comes down, right? Just imagine if that was literally like paper.
Look at our childhood and just remember what touchscreen technology was like for us.
Yeah,
as children.
Clunky and terrible.
I mean, it was terrible. It was really bad. I mean, I remember going to a restaurant in the shape of a flying saucer, which had touchscreen technology. And that I was about 8, so it did exist. For all those people who are just thinking never happened, it did exist. It just look at how far it's come. It's amazing.
I love it. Technology is fascinating.
Technology is great, but if I were to have to create stuff, we would still be using paper and pen, to be honest, because I do not have the patience for that.
I'd love to. I love like stories of entrepreneurs and innovators and creators and engineers. I just don't feel like that's me, but I would love to do that. I'd love to be able to do all that stuff.
Oh, well, there's a hole. Let's get out of here.
Oh,
poop!
Uh-oh. I'm not in the area, so your stuff won't despawn.
Yeah, I just don't know where I am. Hang on.
I just went to repair my gear, so
Right. Okay.
Where are you?
There was a hole that I fell in. It's all right. I'm coming. I'm coming. It's from somewhere. Dang it, Joe. Okay.
Oh.
Every
right,
time.
I'm trying to repair my pick a bit. I'm gonna come. I'll help you get your stuff, and then I'll go back here again.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's not there. It's fine.
I think I was looking at my chat and then I got distracted. I think someone said they're called remarkable paper or remarkable tablets. Does that ring a bell?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I could probably just search it.
Probably.
Know.
You probably could.
I honestly think that's the future, though. Like when that sort of like mobile phone screen experience just like becomes so disposable and remote and everything's connected, like the amount of stuff you'd be able to do with it is just insane.
Yeah. All good.
Oh, apparently they are indeed called remarkable tablets.
This is what my chat is telling me as well.
I was gonna ask you a question. Do you ever remember a game on the Amstrad where you are a ball that goes forward and there are tiles that come towards you and they're different colours, and like some of them make you jump, some of them slow you down, some of them speed you up, and it's like just never-ending like colours coming towards you, and you're like in space, stars in the distance, stuff like that.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Where were you when you were blown up?
I'd fallen down a hole into a cave.
Should I wait for you to get here?
Yeah, it might be an idea.
Yeah,
I'm on my
gonna
way.
hop back.
I'm nearly here.
But peeps are saying Marble Madness. That is not the name of it. I know that game. That's an isometric game. This one's it coming straight to your
Marble Madness was weird.
I actually found it a while ago because every now and then I get like I go down a rabbit hole of like desperately trying to remember what this game is and like looking it up for hours. And
do we have a bed around here?
Yes.
Thanks.
Here we go.
Alright, well, let's start with the fact that there are creepers in the way.
Someone says Whizball. I have to look that one up. Dang, I should just like stream whenever I want to know. People like start telling me all these games they remember. Where did you go? You're over there. So is it that direction?
I'm over here. No. I think it's directly ahead of us somewhere.
All right. Good idea to press F3 and B so you can see items on the ground. So you fell through the ground into a cave.
Yeah. So it must be around here. Must be around here somewhere. Because.
Where are you again?
Deeply things. I'm over here. Over here. Hang on.
I'm
over here. I think it's around here somewhere. Because.
Well, there's sandstone on the ground. Okay, torches. I'm kind of just like looking downwards for.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I think it was over here. Where?
Oh, here it is. I got it.
Got it.
We don't want any creepers to be down here.
No.
Because they might blow the stuff up. So.
But also we got a zombie on the way, and I've got no weapons.
Okay, I don't see creeper, so I think you're safe to hop down.
Okay, you take out this zombie then.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'll watch you back.
Okay.
Oh! Guy! No! Okay, drop the husk head. So I got some of your stuff.
I think you got most of it actually.
I'll keep these diamonds though.
You're funny. You're funny. Pick, sword, shovel, axe. Yeah, I think.
Is this white shulker box yours? Probably, because it's empty.
Yes.
And do you want some arrows? That's probably it, right?
That's it. Thanks
Sweet.
for that. Really appreciated.
No problem.
Yay! Let's figure out how to get out.
I'm now going to go search these games that chat are telling me about.
That's probably a good idea.
I actually figured out what it was a while ago, but I forgot again. Anyway, I found an emulator online and played it, and it was just like, oh god, this is just like not entertaining anymore.
I find that with like older games, a lot of it is graphical for me. It's sort of like, you know, if it doesn't have a specific kind of art style, if it tries to be like realistic and stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean with realism.
I find that difficult.
For
realism in inverted commas.
For me, it's gameplay that I think I notice the most. Like, because like a lot of game ideas get antiquated with time. Like, do you remember when you used to play platformers and it was like if you died, you had to go all the way back to the beginning?
Yes, I remember.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
And then with time, like they realised that that's a lot of suffering, and then they added save points. And these days, I don't know what.
Well, it's the fact that they couldn't do save points back in the day.
Yeah, limitations with memory
yeah.
and stuff.
Okay, I think we've got enough sandstone now. So.
All right,
I think
cool.
We're good. So thank you very much for your help.
No problem.
I'm sure Joe will appreciate it.
He can thank me next time.
I mean, to be fair, you know, this is the only one he's ever missed, so...
Yeah.
You You know,
Joe's always holding it down.
Joe does hold down the fort quite a lot, so you know, and we only ever do our projects when it's just me and him usually, so
Yeah.
okay. Well, what's the time? I think I'm hopping off HHH, but I'm going to stay around for a little bit
All right,
on
cool.
the server. So, thank you very much for your help. I do appreciate it.
No problem. I'll
Yay.
see you next week, if not sooner.
Yeah, just shout if you've got any projects that you need help with and stuff. So,
Cool. All right. Take care, Cleo. Bye-bye.
you too. Bye bye.
Rightio! I have some noises in the eardrum to thank. Main Game Central, thank you for the Prime. Lemon Man, thank you for the cheers and bits. Snocky, thank you for 7 months. Johnny B, thank you for free. Soon91, thank you for free. Syntax Error Geek, thank you for free. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the support as always. There were some suggestions for that game. I was looking it up. Whizball is not it. I can tell you Whizball is not it. Always when you're at these places. Archive.org. Super Sarah Stars is the place you can play DOS games. I wish I could recommend you one to go check out that I played. Problem is, a lot of them are a bit clunky. Like, one that I am incredibly fond of is Lemmings 2, Something the Tribes. That has like a crazy amount of nostalgia for me. But whenever I go back and play it, I'm like, Lemmings is one of those games that's just like kind of slow and sluggish these days, but like it was absolutely brilliant back then. Another one I can remember was one called Hero Quest, where you were like out in like Scandinavian regions picking up like an army of Vikings and fighting people, and it sounds great, but like when you go back and play it, slow, sluggish, just one that actually holds up pretty well and it's really good fun to play with other people is Dr. Drago's Madcap Chase, I believe is the name of the game. That one's surprisingly still fun, if not a little antiquated. That's actually a game I think could be remade. And do you know what? I think actually I talked about this a while back about doing game design and stuff. I'm working on a couple of things, Hermit Raiders and something else behind the scenes. I think like I'm not capable of making games myself, but I absolutely love game design, and there's elements of that game I would love to take and put into something new. You know, that's what a lot of art is. It's what a lot of music is. It's like mixing things, remixing. And so for me, like that Dr. Drago's Madcap Chase, that had something in it, some game mechanics that were really appealing that I think you could mix with stuff today and make a really cool game. You know, things that you don't really see too much elsewhere. Lots of you are talking about the Dangerous Dave game. I don't know what one that is. Beneath a Steel Sky was one heck of a story game that I really enjoyed. That's one I like feel like at some point in time I've got to like hook that up and play it again. I will probably be disappointed by the speed and stuff, but that had an amazing storyline. Island of Dr. Brain was a great game too. Yeah, the Dr. Brain game's awesome. Those again were ones that I fired up and I was like, these puzzles aren't quite how I remembered it. I think one of the things that was a bit punishing with that one, again, just the speed of the game and whatnot. Oh god, I feel like I'm getting closer with each game that I named to like some classic DOS game that I enjoyed. All the LucasArts and Sierra games I feel hold up to modern times, says Joe Error. Yeah, Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis was like, oh, I adored that game. It was like another Indiana Jones movie, right? It was like another one, even though it was a computer game. The story was so good. Zork. I never did the Zork ones. I had them. They were just... The text-based thing was before my time. I think when you play a lot of DOS games, it's good to view it in the context of the 90s and get back to that mindset. Yeah. Yeah, if I could get back to that mindset, wonderful. But, like, the pace of things today is different. It's just... I can't override that reaction of, like, this is slow. You know? And I don't think that's a bad thing. But I tell you what is interesting is, like, why is it that music doesn't feel that way? Why is it that, like, listening to nostalgic music from different decades is more transformative and, like... I guess it's because music is, like, human expression. And it's, like, completely timeless. Music for me is, like, totally timeless. Some things can be a bit dated, a bit, like, following the trend of the time that isn't around anymore, more so than, like, focusing on good artistry. But, like, music from any period of time in past is just, like, deep in some way or another. Ariosos says, I really do appreciate DOS graphics. Ironically, it was called Mode X. I'll have to look into that. Mode X. But yeah, the graphics are something to remember. What was the other thing I wanted to look up? What was that paper thing called? The paper screens. Command & Conquer Red Alert. Yeah, now you're hitting it. Command & Conquer. Those are the nostalgia games. You can't play those on archive.org, unfortunately, because they're still... they're not abandonware. They're still kind of like owned by EA now and whatnot. Remarkable tablet. Thank you, peeps. More research for after the stream. Hey, we got a noise in the air. We've got a few, actually. Syntax, Error Geek, thank you for 3 months. I think I actually read that one already, didn't I? Quantum Flux TV, thank you for 8 months. And Sir Jamming, thank you for 64. It's been a long time since I last tuned in. Good to see a new season of Hermitcraft still going strong. Cheers, my dude. Yeah, things are going well for Hermitcraft. And what about this stream? 3,000 peeps tuned in. Thank you ever so much for coming by today, peeps. Be sure to hit the follow button here on Twitch if you enjoyed the stream. We do this every Monday. Hermits helping hermits. I lost so much sleep playing the Dune and Command & Conquer. Yeah, I actually played them on stream, right? Now that I think about it, more are coming back to me, like Jazz Jack Rabbit. But we played Command & Conquer on stream, and honestly, like, even though it's kind of like the gameplay's slow, the nostalgia, the graphics, and the music just made it so much fun to play again. They open source Tiberian Dawn and Red Alert. Oh, right. I know they like revamped the game and stuff. I wasn't aware they made it fully open source. Maybe that was like newer. I always wanted to play those games with mods, you know, extra things and tweaks and changes. Joshua Epstein, thank you ever so much for the 4 months. What is the name of that mod that adds status to info tab? It's private at the moment, so I don't know what it's going to be called. It'll be public at some point. Loopy Canis, thank you for 9 months. Martinez, thank you for 6. Gel Jen, thank you for the Prime, appreciate it. Yeah, if ever you want to see me playing Command & Conquer, it's all over on my second channel. You can catch those VODs of the live streams. They were a tremendous amount of fun to play again. Did it a bunch of times. Did it with like hacky emulators and some real like pain in the bum stuff to record it and stream it, and then later on it got remastered. I think when it was remastered we probably only played Red Alert, but yeah. Those were some great ones. Rayman was gold. Rayman was a really good platformer. Oh wow, just hearing Jazz Jack Rabbit brought back memories. Yeah, and the soundtrack to that game was amazing. Rofo Rexes grew up on CNC. Yeah, I feel like that, but more so the soundtracks. Like, after I was done playing it, I took the soundtracks, and they have become some of the most listened to music. Like, to this day, it like, it has a calming effect, or like some sort of like special feeling, you know, like, just makes you feel alright. Brings you to that little place in your youth where you're like, not a care in the world, just playing Command & Conquer. Super Sarah Star says, my dad and I used to play Dungeon Master. If I'm thinking of Dungeon Master by Bullfrog 1 and 2, those games are still pretty darn good to play. And I would really like to stream playing one of those. I've kind of been waiting on a sequel or a spiritual successor. Every now and then something comes around for that game, but like it never sticks. I can't remember the last time I heard a news for it, but like there was one a while back that was supposed to be a spiritual successor, and I don't remember what happened to it. Yuki Y is here for 8 months. Thank you so much, my dude. Appreciate it. If you happen to know of a spiritual successor to Dungeon Keeper, please do inform me, because I would love to do that. Play that game style again, and I might even get the old game fired up and have some fun on stream at some point, because it's a good one. Theme Hospital, also another good one. So many, right? And who can forget Roller Coaster Tycoon? That's the game right there. That's the game. Anyway, peeps, we have reached the end of my live stream time for today. Be sure to hit the follow button if you've enjoyed today's stream. I'm pretty sure we're going to be raiding Cleo, although she's not live. In fact, Impulse is. No, wait, this thing hasn't updated. Let's click it again. There we go. Right, I'm sending you over to Cleo. So the fun continues here on Hermitcraft. Thank you to everyone who subscribed, resubscribed, donated and cheered. Thank you for all those gifted subs. Thank you to my patrons. And I may see you again tomorrow evening with either some Hermitcraft or some Monster Train. That's it. Bye-bye.